Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. I really feel that I need like a theme song for this show, but I don't know how I would do that with Facebook Live, so we'll see. Maybe we can find a way. Welcome, everyone. If you're here live or if you're catching the replay, whoever you are, spirits, earth friends, whatever, I welcome everyone. And hey, Amanda, I'm so excited. This has been brewing in the cauldron. As you guys know, I've rescheduled it a bunch of times, but I'm so happy to be here now. Feels perfectly aligned. It's a really good day to do this. As you guys have come to know about me, I'm always changing things. I'm always switching it up. That's my Gemini. Hey, Cassandra, and hey, Alyssa. So, we'll see how the format goes. I would love to, take this and make it more of like a talk show in terms of, I've always had the vision of like having like a true talk show where like there's a theme song and there's like captions and I have cards and and I have guests and all of that. But, who knows? Maybe that will happen one day. But I have come to a place in my life and in my business where I take the action, right? And I do the thing, imperfect and all, right? Hey, Cassandra. Hey, Lauren. So as you guys are coming on, just say hi. We're just hanging out. I have a lot of fun stuff that I want to share with you guys today. And as I shared, hey, Sherry, hey, Sonia, hey, Alyssa. As I shared, the idea behind this was for me to follow my bliss in my business, right? Where I was doing the trainings, hey, Tanae, and I was doing things in a certain way because I just did by default. I thought like, oh, that's what I should do. I learned from other people and I really enjoyed doing trainings, but that wasn't my ultimate bliss, right? I realized that I like to talk about a lot of different things. I like to have a lot of variety, and I noticed that what my creative process is that I'm always, if you look through, if you were to go into my Facebook account and you were logged into my account, you would see tons and tons of posts. And they're mostly one line that doesn't really make sense. Just these little ideas and snippets that I get about all different kinds of things. And I'll write them and then I'll make it like only me so that only I can see it. But I was like, there's just such good stuff and I want to share it. That's how I think, that's how I process things, and that's exciting for me. So I was like, that's actually a perfect, a talk show is a perfect format for me because that is how I function. That's how I think about things. So I want you guys to do the same, like in your business, find the things that make sense for you, right? And that's why this episode 1 is called Follow Your Bliss in Business. It's just, it's about really, really doing that, not just like saying you're going to do it and not just wanting to, but actually doing that and really creating all of these little opportunities and ways to have fun in your business, because the truth is that it's not just about having fun. Yes, that is the point. But also when you're having fun and when you're excited to do the thing, you're going to actually do it and you're going to be more visible. You're going to be more excited about sharing it. You're going to be more, in your full energy, right? So there's so many layers and reasons to why you should be pursuing and putting energy and thought into, well, how can I put things together in my business in a way that actually honors my natural process and my natural creative expression. Good morning, Melissa and Kareen. And Alyssa said, that's an awesome idea. I end up putting all my ideas in random notes on my phone and forgetting about them. Yeah. So a newsletter or like a magazine style, like email that goes out to your list every week, or a talk show or a podcast where it's kind of like all different stuff. I've always loved magazines. I've always like when I was younger, I always envisioned myself like working for a magazine or I was always seeing myself as being some kind of communications person, right? Like a newscaster or something. So don't take those things for granted. Just build them into your business. And that's why this feels so exciting and fun for me, because again, as opposed to like the trainings, which I would feel like, to me, it felt daunting. It just did, like I was like, okay, I have to like focus on this one topic for 45 minutes. And I love to do that in my courses. And I love to do that, in certain times, but I don't think that that's the only way that I need to show up, So Corinne said her podcast is very egocentric. I wish that I could listen to it because it's in French. So I would listen just for the sake of it, but I wouldn't understand it. Oh my God, Tanae, you used to run an online magazine called Pagan Living. That is so cool. I love that. So if it was so fun, like maybe that at least an element of it can be brought back in some way to something in your business, right? Because again, the more fun you have, the more you're going to show up and the more it's going to work. That's just what I have found. Okay, so the first topic for today that I wanted to share with you guys, this was a question asked by Pamela. And I think it's a great question. It's one that I always wonder about other people. And I just think that we love to learn and hear about how other people work. And, it's good to hear because you get ideas and you get inspiration, and we're all, running our businesses, and how I do things every day, right, is what works for me, and I welcome you to take from it what you want, and then again use that as like a template for you to give yourself the permission to do what works for you, right? So I have gone through many different phases of like daily routines or whatever, and actually it's not even really a routine, it's more of like a rhythm. And maybe I'm a mom of 2 young kids. I work from home. I'm still working on getting an office space. I had one and then it fell through, and it's probably for the best anyway because it was kind of far from the kids' school and stuff. So I feel like it was meant to be. But I'm still figuring out, getting myself into an office space or whatever. But for now, I'm home. So I think that's important to think about because when it comes to my daily routine or rhythm, I have a lot of different factors that come into play, right? And so I think the first thing with anybody's daily rhythm is really just being realistic about, what you're working with and what you need to set yourself up for success, right? So I spoke a lot about this in the On Fleek kits for each individual sign, but, the whole concept of setting yourself up for success, right? So when I start my day each day, the first thing that I do, here I even have it, is I journal. Okay, so this is my journal. I bought it in gold on purpose because I have a Leo moon and gold is one of my power colors. So I have like my gold planner. I don't know if you could see it, like I'm all about the gold. But I take my journal, and even if it's a sentence, the first thing that I will do is I will write down what I want to experience that day. Or oftentimes I will write in future tense. So I'll write like, oh my gosh, my business is blossoming and I'm having the best time. My content is amazing. My programs are selling like hotcakes or whatever, I don't really write that, but like along those lines. And I feel into the vibe and the energy of like what I actually want to be the reality. And it's so amazing because it really works. So I shared this in my mastermind Eminence with the women in there. We're working on Mars this month, and we're working on our Mars power mantras and working with our inner Mars energy, which is our inner general, who is always at our command to do what we need to do. So when it comes to my Mars placement, my Mars is in Gemini and it's in the 12th house. So I know that for me, journaling is one of my absolute power moves. Like I believe that's true for everyone. I think journaling is one of the most powerful things we can do. But for me, it really is. Like I have to start my day with that, because otherwise I kind of will just go anywhere. Like I will just be all over the place. Journaling kind of serves as my boundary setting, and also, again, it builds a framework around my energy for the day. And in those couple of lines, and just that focus, and that, taking from the mind to the hand to the physical, that little process right there does amazing wonders in helping me to create energetic boundaries around what I'm available for and what I'm not available for. And I don't have to, it's not like a big drawn out process. It's like one or two sentences, sometimes longer, but that's my power journaling. So I start with that. I really like to start with that. I like to go out to a coffee shop. Okay. So there's this really amazing local coffee shop that I go to each morning. They open at like 5:30. So I take my kids to school. So we do the morning routine of the kids, which is in and of itself a whole project. And it's taken us time to like get into the rhythm. And some mornings are really difficult and some are better. So, after taking them to school, I go to the local coffee shop. I take my journal, different journal, like my business journal, and my headphones, right? And I will like listen to music, or I'll listen to some kind of podcast or video or something of a coach that I like. And then I will sit there for a little while. And I believe, because I have split definition in my human design, I think it's good, apparently, for me to be in a space where I'm surrounded by other people, because it because of the split, it like helps me to be more integrated or whatever. I'm not a human design expert, but I do find that that's true. And I like to put myself around people. I don't do it every day, but maybe 3 days a week. So I did that today, right? And I will just like have my coffee and my pastry and my water or whatever. And then sometimes I'll stay there for a couple of hours. And while I am there, I am focusing on what I want to create, right? I will have like a specific purpose in mind. Like if I'm launching a program, I will be thinking about, okay, what content do I want to share? Or whatever. And I'm very like open about it. I never really sit down and be like, here's what I'm saying today, or here's this or that. It's more that I'm just like open to receiving ideas. And I just kind of sit there and do that. And like just being around people helps me. So oftentimes I'll just get great ideas and I'll write them down. Sometimes I will spend that time just responding to people or talking to people in the group. Hey, Robin. And hey, Donna, welcome. I just want to catch up on Alyssa's comment and Tanae. So Tanae said, so interesting to think about starting the day with Mars moves. Yeah, I think it's a powerful way. Alyssa, oh, interesting. Never heard about the split. I'm split too. Fine when I don't leave the house for days at a time. I'm in a major funk. Yeah, I love being alone too. And I think that's what it's from. I think, don't quote me on it because I'm not 100% sure, but I think I remember reading that in my human design profile thing, that like going out to a public place is good for people who have split definition. So yeah, and I like to be alone too, but I like to be alone like in a public place. So it's like, don't talk to me. I just want to be by myself, but I like to be around people. Hence the headphones or whatever. So yeah, so I will just kind of sit there and write whatever feels right for me that day. If I have something very pressing that is top priority, like getting back to someone or sending out an email or responding to a private client, then I will prioritize that because I don't like to have that weighing on me. I just want to, I like to go through my inbox and make sure that everything is responded to, right? But also I don't pressure things. I was mentioning to one of my private clients the other day that like I prioritize responding to people promptly, but also I like to take my time to think about things. I have Mercury in Taurus. So often if I do respond to something right away, it's not my best work. I have learned that actually the more time I sit with something and let it kind of stew and marinate, very Taurus words, the better it is. So, I'll be like, hey, I'm going to get back to you on this. Let me just, sit with it a little more, let it develop. So I will take care of stuff like that in the morning. Now I have an assistant, Brittany, who's in here. You guys know her. And we're still figuring out our flow, right? But we work with Asana. We work on Asana. So we have different projects and templates that we work on. For example, we have a project for Plugged In, which is my monthly subscription. We have a project for this group. We have a project for, let's see what else. We have a project for my client management, for my apprenticeship, and for, whatever product or launch I'm currently working on. So I go through there and I just ask myself, what do I need support with today? How can Brittany help me, right? And she has weekly tasks that she handles that are just recurring. That we set to recurring on Asana. So I know that those are being taken care of, such as like posts and things like that are recurring. But I will sit and send her a Voxer and be like, hey, Britt, like, can you help me out with this today or whatever? Or like, I need help sending out these orders, blah, blah, blah. So that's my morning where I just kind of like allow myself to feel into the energy of the day. I see what the universe is asking of me that day. And I'm always very aware of the energy of the day for me. I look at my phone at the Time Passages app. So I know what sign the moon is in. I know, what phase the moon is in. I know if it's void of course. I look at that, that's a free app that you can get. And I check in and I see, what's brewing today? Like, is it a quiet day? Is it an active day? How do I feel, and that's my morning. It's just really feeling into it. Then in the afternoon-ish, I will usually have a call, right? A private client or something like this, like a training. Mondays, I keep completely open, preferably. I really try not to schedule anything like that on Mondays because moon days, I like to just kind of sink back into the flow. So I don't really like to take calls and stuff on Mondays. Mondays are my days of just, just being and receiving. So if on a day like this, like I'll have a call and then I will do a training or something, and I'm posting throughout the day by inspiration. I don't plan. I am struck by inspiration and I'm focused on whatever it is that I am selling at that given point or promoting. I don't have to be selling, but let's say there's always an end vision, right? What do I want my post to lead to? Do I want people to join my group? Do I want people to join my program? Do I want people to sign up for my freebie? Do I want people to, book a free call with me, right? There's always a call to action involved. And that is what inspires my daily post. So I need to know, otherwise I'm a frazzled mess and there's no focus, right? And I do very, very well with focus. If I know what I'm trying to do, I can do it. If I don't have that, I just will completely lose it. And it's not a pretty picture. Melissa said, hey, Cassandra, welcome. And hey, Melissa Conroy, welcome. So Melissa says, I definitely have I definitely have to switch it up often. I love the ability to be a stay-at-home mom and homeschool mom, but I really like having a workspace, possibly away from home. Too many distractions. Yeah, I do. It's a very quiet space. Like during the day, I'm alone, but I really want, and I'm so ready for going out each morning to my office where I have my computer there. For me, it's more that I just want a separation between my work and my home and like sleeping, like I have like my desk and it's just, I need that. So I'm really working on manifesting that, but I want to find an office space that is close to school because I don't have that much working hours while the kids are in school, really. I take a lot of time with stuff, like when I write and when it's my Mercury in Taurus, like I can spend hours doing something. And so, my personal timeline is kind of like slow. So, even having like 8:30 to 2:30 every day is really not enough for me. So I want to maximize that. And the other office that I was going to be renting was like probably 40 minutes, realistically. So yeah, so that's what I need to have a focus, right? And every day it's pretty much that rhythm, start the day open, receiving, just being attuned to what the world is presenting to me, like I'll get messages or somebody will ask me something, and it kind of like sets off this whole new like path, right? Like I'm like a wanderer on this path, but I have a focus. I know where I'm going, but I am open to different ways of getting there. So, just in terms of everyday things, my main focus are the three things, right? Building an audience, which I've got to do a little more of. That's not my forte. Nurturing my audience, that is my forte, which makes a lot of sense being Cancer rising and Gemini sun. I love to nurture, and Leo moon, actually, definitely. And then selling, which is another one of my fortes. Like I love selling. I have no problem selling. I dream of selling. You know what I mean? Like that's not my issue. But those are the three things that I do each day. Now, if you look at my little book here, another sparkly book, I'm all about the sparkles. I have a little chart that I made for myself way back, like a few months ago or something, that really just has all of the different types of things that I do each day that fulfill those three objectives that, are the most important things. Those are the things that really get the business going. I don't spend much time doing, let's say, program development anymore because I just don't think it's necessary. Like maybe at the coffee shop in the morning, I will sit down and really tune into, okay, so who is this for? What's the problem that it solves? What is the outcome? Why do they need it? Stuff like that. But I've really allowed for it to be very simple. And then I put 99% of my energy into the three things I just said, and also, of course, delivering the best results and work to my clients in my different programs, whether that's a private client or in my mastermind or in Plugged In, right? So I really, in that graph that I've created here, it's client management is number one. Because I think that what I used to do and what I think a lot of people do, not consciously and not intentionally, is that we're so obsessed in this industry with getting more, signing new clients, moving the business forward and whatever, that I think there's not enough of an emphasis on actually serving the clients, right? Like it's like the sale and the whole process of selling is just for the sake of then serving your clients. So I think of the analogy of like birthing, like when I was, when I gave birth to my babies, both of them, but especially the first one, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so concerned about the birth. I was so worried the whole time of pregnancy about the labor. I was putting so much energy into it and building it up because I had heard so much about how painful it is and how scary it is my whole life. And then thank God the birth was fine and everything, but the real work was after was going home and then the healing of my body and the postpartum and then being a mom to this little guy. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's just like how it is in business. Everybody's talking about the sale and the marketing and the selling of the thing. But like, what about the actual delivering and getting your clients, helping your clients to create results and being fully present with them? So I realized that I needed to shift that whole distribution of energy where I am not allowing the front end of my business of like getting people signed to be like the be all and end all. That is not the point. The point is to work with them and to transform their lives, right? And so I always remind myself of that, and it's a work in process because I think that that it's just so easy to slip into that tendency to be like, oh, I need another client, and then your current ones just kind of fall to the wayside or whatever. So that's why it's very important to create containers and offers that are very easy for you to deliver, and that just flow from you. So that's my daily rhythm, basically. Afternoons when I pick up the kids, I will have a call, let's say, or maybe like a podcast interview, or I will work on a specific like recording, let's say. I try to designate times for that. So like Mondays, I don't have client sessions, but I will work on something that I have to create, content creation. That's like a recording or writing for a program or something like that. But then afternoon, pick up my kids, come home, and the whole rest of the day is me really being present with my children and prioritizing clients, right? So if somebody has a question for me, if we're on Voxer, that's all I do. I mean, I will post sometimes in the evening, and if I have some downtime, I'll like respond to people's posts or comments or whatever, but that's pretty much it in terms of the rest of the day. And I really try to have good boundaries about like the hours that I'm available for stuff and not feeling like I have to respond to everything right away, which was a big one that I had to get over. But again, the more I allow myself to just be fully focused on what I'm actually trying to do and not tiptoeing around the fact that I'm here to sell, that I'm here to bring my work into the world, that I'm here to help people take action, the more I own that, the less I waste my time and others' time doing peripheral stuff that then doesn't move the business forward. So, that's a good thing to think about. It's like, where am I dilly-dallying and beating around the bush? Because that's where your energy is going to be robbed and drained. And again, we can do that all day long, but it's not wise. You don't have to do all those things. You don't have to have these unnecessary conversations. You don't have to be constantly like putting stuff out there without a purpose, really, right? It's good to give value, but value that is very focused and very clear as to who it's for and why you're sharing it with them. And then in that energy, that person can receive it without a lot of like extra unnecessary energy exchange going on. So that's something that I have learned. So that's the daily routine. And this is, something that I was thinking about last week that I posted about, and I think is really interesting to just kind of shift the topic, is I was really, really fascinated. One night I was watching the Kardashians, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Does anybody here watch that show? Let me know. And I was just sitting there thinking like, wow, like they are not that high vibe at all. And I was like amazed, how they are really funny and I actually really enjoy them and everything. But like, I was like, oh my God, like so much of the beliefs that I had around like how I have to be to make money are such bullshit. Like I really, really internalized this belief that like I need to be so high vibe and so positive to make money. And yes, I want to be that. But what I realized was that I was beginning to use that as a limiting belief for myself, that if I was not high vibe, oh shit, I'm going to be poor or whatever, like it was just turning into this whole construct that I don't know, I guess I picked up from like the spiritual entrepreneur space or something. I don't even know. It was like one of those underlying, I'm not sure where I got that from. Maybe also like religion or something. But it was there. It was totally there because I saw it coming out as I was like watching them. I was like, wait, that's not fair. Like, wait, that can't be, like how is she so bratty and so rich? And then I was like, wait, hold on. There are so many people in the world who are very wealthy, who are totally not high vibe, who in fact are very evil, and that just kind of shattered the whole illusion for me. And I was like, wait, so that must mean, and it sounds so simple, but like these are how these limiting beliefs actually work. We really don't see them. So I was like, oh wait, this is crazy, because that means that I don't have to be perfect all the time in order to actually make money. And what I started to do is I started to disentangle my state, my mental state, my emotional state, and also my feelings of worthiness or whatever things about myself. I just disentangled myself, began to, from money, or from my deserving of, or my ability to receive money. And as I was doing that, I posted about it a couple of weeks ago. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I began like realizing so many different things about how we have been programmed as women, I think, and conditioned to be such people pleasers, that I think part of it is that we believe on some level that the better of a person you are, and the more you make other people happy, then you're rewarded with money, let's say. So I started uncovering all this stuff, and what really came through for me was that I am now realizing more and more that my money situation has nothing to do with anything but my willingness to show up for money no matter what, no matter how I feel, right? Like, think about it like this: men who have been, who were the dominant breadwinners throughout history, right? Business, women being in business, women being the breadwinner. I don't like that term, but like women earning their own living and being in a fair equal role with men is very, very relatively new. So we're still kind of, healing from all of that. But men, for example, I thought of my father for example, because he's like that archetype in my life. But like, I was like, dad would just show up for work no matter what. He didn't sit there thinking, oh, I'm not a good person, so I can't make money. You know, um, that didn't even cross his mind because he was never conditioned in that way. He was just like, I'm gonna go make money, you know? Um, so I was like, wow, like I can just release myself from all of these rules and all of these beliefs that I have to be in a certain state in order to make my money. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to want to be positive and high vibe and conscious and all of that. Of course, I want to, but if I'm not, then it's okay, because money is actually just super neutral. And it, again, if we allow ourselves to have that mindset of like, money shows up for me when I show up for money, right? There's a lot of power there, and there's something that I feel that we can reclaim there for ourselves, where we don't have to tie up all these stories and beliefs about who we are and what we're, how we are and things like that with our money. So this is something that I have been working through a lot lately. It's been moving through me. And it's just been really powerful, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I'm still developing it. It's not, it's not this like done thing yet, but I felt it was a good thing to talk about in this show because, I would love to hear your thoughts on it and what comes through for you. And I see that you guys are commenting. So, Donna, yes, love this. Releasing the new age shit. Yeah. And I'm all about the new age, but there is a lot of shit too, a lot of like limiting beliefs, I think, right? So Cassandra says, wow, that's so true. Boom, my willingness to show up for money no matter what. I felt that deep. Yes, it's this feeling, right? Where you just get to say to yourself, like, it's unconditional. Like, right? It's neutral. It's not about me as a person, like it's like, if I go out and do the things, then money definitely shows up for me. And I don't need to be so fearful and controlling of, my emotions and my worthiness and whatever else it is that I'm holding inside of myself, that I'm allowing to actually block myself from taking actions that actually would create money just inevitably, So women, oh, I'm sorry. Amanda said, women making their own living is more of a very old throwback. We are finding our deepest roots. Very true. And thank you for pointing that out, where, there was a time, right, where that was the norm, right? Where women were completely equal, right? But for very long in our dominant society, as you know what I'm talking about, that it was not that way, and we have to be real about that. So Tanae said, wow, yeah, I have some serious limiting beliefs around the way my parents have sacrificed to make money, but that's so true. Hey, Quinn. And Oh, okay. So cool. So you guys are talking about the magazine. So that's what's been coming up for me. It's been a major shift, and I wanted to share another major breakthrough that I had the other night while my kids were playing in the basement. And I think it's connected, right? So I was sitting there. I was on my iPad. I don't remember why I did this, but I was just kind of researching, and I Googled the following phrase. I Googled astrology industry, something like that, like just like astrology industry money or something. And what I found was fascinating. I found that the astrology industry is in the billions. And I found all these articles from like different magazines and financial publications about like how people are investing in apps and things, and how investors are now like putting money into astrology and stuff like that. And just like how astrology works. Why is it so fascinating for me? Because I realized that I was holding this very, very deep limiting belief in my business this entire time, that I was very, very ashamed and fearful and doubting that people would take me seriously if I was talking about astrology. And not just that, but it was not a conscious thing. And again, I wish I knew how this came through, but it was just one of those like eureka. Like I was like, I think I was like sitting down, I was working on like developing Abracadabra, my new program. And I was like, found myself again grappling with these same objections inside of my head that would come up all the time whenever I wanted to sell something. I'd be like, well, how much astrology should I put in there? How am I going to kind of like, how am I going to position this a way that is like not so astrology or whatever? And then I was like, why? Like, you know, so I just saw that happen. And then I was like, let me just Google that, you know, I was like, let's just see what the truth is. So I found again, and that just shattered the whole limiting belief, because what it showed me and what it satisfied in my mind was, again, this fear that I had somehow picked up somewhere. I don't know why, but for this entire time in my business, it was there, underlying, undermining me constantly, always making me second guess myself. And when I finally saw it and I wrote it down in my journal, I was like, the astrology industry is $1 billion industry. It was just that proof that I needed, that I wasn't allowing myself to see. And what was so powerful about it was that I realized that, you know, that's how our limiting beliefs actually work. They become the lens through which we see everything. And what our mind does is it looks for evidence constantly, constantly, constantly to uphold the current belief. And that's what I was doing my entire time in my business. I was proving to myself, looking for evidence all the time, that astrology is not really legit, right? And it wasn't conscious. It was kind of this like underlying, I was like looking for evidence that, you know, I can't really make that much money doing astrology, or that, you know, it's not really safe or wise for me to just really own the astrology aspect of my work, blah, blah, blah. And the reason I'm sharing this is because this has been going on for so long, and I just realized it and just saw it the other day. And it completely, I think, was a major, major, major breakthrough for me, because again, now I'm not going to be looking for that evidence anymore. You know, I have completely let go of that old belief, and now I'm actually looking for contrary evidence to continually prove this new belief that I have, that wow, you know, I am part of an industry that is so lucrative, and there's just so much opportunity and so much potential. And I think what actually started me thinking about this was that I realized that, like, I think that's why I have been so resistant to growing my audience. Like that, like I said before, that's like the one part of my business that like I've always kind of held back. I was always so afraid, you know, but then I started seeing the articles. I was like, there's astrology accounts that have literally like millions of followers. And I don't know why that belief was there for me in particular. I have theories, you know. I think that it comes from my background and conditioning and specific things that I was taught, whatever it is. But when I saw it, I realized that I was lying to myself. I was freaking lying to myself this whole time. And that was what was holding me back. And so I felt that was powerful to share for you, because there might be things in your beliefs, right? Like your program that's running right now that you're believing. You're just totally believing, and you're building everything around that lie that is holding you back. So I think it's interesting to maybe look at one area of your business. Like for me, it was like, why am I like so afraid to grow my audience? Why am I Instagram followers for a year? You know, it's not that I don't know what to do. It's not that I can't ask Brittany to help me. It's not that I don't know how to do hashtag. Like, it's none of that. It was actually a block that I was telling myself that it's just not possible for me or something. So look at the problems in your business from the perspective of, what's the underlying belief here? And it might take a little digging. And sometimes it's like this eureka moment where you're like, oh my God, that's what it is. Like for me, I never would have thought really, but I knew that I had some kind of weirdness around owning the astrology piece. And all it took was one Google search to blow that shit up, and to completely now, I don't have that fear anymore. And I don't have that lie, just constantly undermining my efforts. And I feel like I've just given myself the permission to now just go like all in, because I'm like, of course people love astrology. Like what came through for me was, I was like, oh my God, like who the fuck wouldn't want this? Like people love astrology. People love business. Why would they not want what I have? Why would people not want my On Fleek kits? And I think actually the On Fleek kits were a huge part of this breakthrough for me, because it was like I shared, 43 of them were sold, and I have a very small audience and a very small list. And I was like, wow, I could have sold like 100 of them. You know what I mean? Like I started to feel like, oh my God, like this work can actually work, And it was just a very powerful thing for me. So I wanted to share that with you guys, because there might be things under the surface. And and so the hashtag I used for that breakthrough was Mercury retrograde blessings, which brings us to our next topic, which is that, that was a Mercury retrograde blessing for me, because this Mercury retrograde is occurring in Scorpio, right? Which is the deeper subconscious fears that we have. It's like the skeletons in the closet that are there, and the monsters under our bed that we put so much energy into sustaining them and fighting them and not looking, that we end up creating them. We end up actually creating the very nightmares that we're trying to avoid. And that's what I was doing. And so it was like this total Mercury retrograde moment where I was like, I just felt like I just like opened the closet, or I flashed the light, and I was like, that's not true. Like, that's just not true. So stop believing that. Stop using that as a block to growth, to abundance, right? So whenever we pull away the curtain of fear, all we see there is abundance. And that was a very powerful moment for me. So, oh, I'm so happy, Donna. Donna loved the On Fleek kit, and she's creating something right now that came through for you. Oh, I would love for you to share it, like in our group. That is so exciting, and I'm so happy. And truly, the process of creating the On Fleek kits was one of the best experiences in my business. I will admit that I didn't give myself enough time, I think, overall, because it was just a lot of channeling. It really was. I didn't realize how much I would actually be channeling. A lot of the stuff I shared, I don't even know what I said. Like my sister was reading it back to me, one of them, her Sagittarius, and I was like, oh, I really don't remember writing that. So, that was the only thing that I, had a little bit of this overwhelm, but I loved the entire process. Marketing them, selling them, talking about them, creating them, and then delivering them. Like that was so good. And the biggest breakthrough for me around that was, I know now, I know it in my being that when I'm selling something that I love and that really comes from my heart source, it is so easy to sell it. And also, it is completely natural. And, you know, there's such a difference between that and like something that's not that. And, you know, I feel like I have tasted it and I won't ever go back. So I want that for you guys. Hey, Kayla. So I'll have to catch up on some of the comments after. Oh my God, Quinn, you know, because you know. I really, you know, so much energy moved through me. And it was Halloween the night I finished, and we took the kids out trick-or-treating. And I said to my husband, I was like, wow, like so much energy just moved through me. Like I needed a rest. I think I slept for like, you know, 12 hours straight at least that night. So it was good. But then I was like back on my feet again. And I'm so happy with the way they came out. So this brings me to the Mercury retrograde stuff that I wanted to share about just a little bit. Also, tomorrow, Mars is going to be squaring Pluto. So it's already happening now. It's been building up. And then we're going to feel the effects for about another week. But tomorrow is like the most potent. And I did a post on this on my personal page. I shared one of my favorite music videos from Jane's Addiction, which is a really great thing to watch because as I have been sharing in the On Fleek kits and just, you know, that, you know, everything has an energetic frequency to it. So even sometimes just listening to a song or looking at something or looking at any, you know, a color can actually attune you to the energy of that thing. So watch that video. It's a really good song, but it also carries strong Mars energy, Aries energy. But the whole thing about the Mars square Pluto, it's very important that it's happening now during this Mercury retrograde. And this is about, you know, Mars is taking action. Pluto is transformation and really just destroying anything that no longer serves us for the highest good. There's a very positive aspect to Pluto, which is just pure love. But it comes through, you know, basically pulling out the rug from underneath anything that's not our truth. It's about truth. So with Mars squaring Pluto and it's happening during this Mercury retrograde, you know, I was sharing with Corrine because she asked me to clarify that like this is a time for taking action on taking action that is rooted in our truth, right? Where we don't have the what's the word? The leisure, is that the word? Like the leisure to dilly-dally anymore. You know, like you are going to feel that there's something inside of you that needs to be birthed and created, and trust it. Let it go, right? Sometimes that means not doing something, that sometimes it means it does. But the power of action, the power of Mars, and by the way, those two planets are the rulers of Scorpio. So it's this powerful theme. But Mars and taking action is our most powerful magical tool that we have. We are like, you could think of yourself as a wand or something, or like as a magical tool, your whole being. That when you take action, what you're doing is you're uniting all the forces of yourself into one focused thing, right? Like right now, like I'm drinking this, right? Like that action was just a complete unity of all the forces of my being doing that thing. Or like me sitting here right now, right? That's why action is so powerful. And that's why action is the one thing that you can actually bypass everything else by going straight to the action. You can bypass beliefs, blocks, all that. If you just take the action that actually aligns with what you're trying to create, it doesn't matter what you believe. That's why action is so powerful and so important, and in business. And so with this Mars squaring Pluto, what we are being invited to do is to really get out of our own way and just take the freaking action that needs to be taken. Whether that is, again, an action of going out and doing something, whether it's an action of withholding, that's still an action. I think people get confused that they think action means doing and hustling. And sometimes it does, but sometimes the action is not doing or not separating parts of ourselves, or we're overemphasizing an aspect of ourselves. Maybe it's the mind, maybe it's the body, right? Like whenever we're like in a state of inaction, right? It's that horrible place in between where sometimes we have to be there, to tell you the truth. But avoiding taking an action is what sucks. Oh, are you guys here? Can you still hear me? Let me check my video. Guys, let me know if I'm here, because I don't see anything weird on my end. Okay, great. Okay. So I want to wrap up with just a couple of my new current obsessions. This is very magazine-esque. I love you guys. So I have recently begun working with a witch coach because I am fully embracing my witchy essence. And her name is Tanae. She's the Witch of Lupin Hollow, and she's in our group. You guys all know her. And so we started our witch coaching, and I have been really uncovering, you know, what type of a witch I am, and it might be fun for you guys to guess what type of witch I am. I'll be very impressed if you can guess it. But it was very clear for me, and it's actually a word that I've been haunted by in a positive way for a long time. So she's my witch coach, and so we, you know, we've been starting to work through, you know, my own practice and, you know, what that means for me. And so I thought it'd be a cool theme to share, you know, just my current obsessions and things. So I bought some new books. Yesterday I got this one, which I realized was a little stupid because it's Llewellyn's 2019. I didn't realize that it was like a date thing, but I think I could still use it. But it's like a spell a day, and I love it. And so like I could read you guys today's. Today is November 5th. So Tuesday, and I love it because it says, you know, the moon sign, and the color of the day is maroon. The incense of the day is cinnamon. Oh, and today's is about election day here in the States, right? So it has a cast a spell for success, you know, like different types of materials that you can use, and how to create a charm for success. So I love that. Then I also got this book, Silver's Spells for Protection by Silver Ravenwolf, and I went and bought like jet crystals because I felt after recording the On Fleek kits, I just felt how powerful and necessary it is for me as a Cancer rising to really be doing protection measures. Not that I'm afraid or anything like that. I used to be, but it's more so that I want to protect what's sacred. And that was one of the great gifts of Cancer that I shared in the On Fleek kit. And a fairy witch, yeah. Well, I definitely do work and want to. I have another book that I'll show you guys, but I definitely am drawn to working with the fae. I will show you this book. Hold on. So it's called, I have all my books around and my pants are stuck, but this one is called The Ancient Art of Fairy Magic. I love it. I haven't like gotten so deep into it yet, but that is definitely part of my connection. Keep guessing. Keep guessing. And it's so funny because I had a really powerful dream about a tattoo, which I'm getting. So when I'll show you guys the tattoo when I get it, but I'm not doing it during Mercury retrograde. I'm going to do it, of course, after Mercury retrograde. But it definitely integrates fairies. So, and it was a dream tattoo. So it was like, I have to get this tattoo. And then I wanted to share with you that I have been working with the CBD oil, and I might even start selling it. Danielle Lamb, who's in our group as well, she sells CBD products, and we've been talking about like doing a collaboration or whatever. I am so passionate about this. I have, as you guys know, I've always loved plant medicine, and marijuana, I think, is one of the most healing gifts in our world, but there's a lot of healing that we had to do with her to to reclaim that. And I think she represents Mother Earth energy. And I think that she is just a gift. But I've been working with the CBD. This brand is Ancient Nutrition. And I just take a little bit each day as needed, not even every single day, but it's been really helping me to ground myself. And that actually brings me to Abracadabra, which is the new program that I just opened yesterday and is open for enrollment. It's going to be a very quick launch because this is about taking action. So Abracadabra is about grounding. It's about taking your visions, taking your ideas for your program, or whatever it is. Maybe it's a book that you wrote. Maybe it's a meditation. Maybe it's a product. Maybe it's a session or a $20,000 coaching program. Whatever it is, I want to help you ground yourself into the highest value, but also the most grounded earthly value, who it's for, and why they need it, and just allow it to be simple. That's what the program is about. Like, it's so simple. We're just going to spend 4 weeks together having fun, making your marketing amazing. And I have a gift, I realized, with language because of my Gemini sun and, my 12th house gifts with that. My sun is conjunct Chiron. I can look at someone's words and copy, and I know exactly what word they need to use in order for them to create what they want to. And that's just why I made this program. I just want to share that gift with you. I want to be able to look at your stuff and show you, here's where you're hiding. Here's where here's where the potential, here, use this word here, because that's the word that needs to be said there, right? And also, of course, sharing with you very important principles of marketing that have really helped me, sell out my offers. I just had a 15.6K cash month. I no longer count sales anymore, which feels like a big deal for me because I used to always be like, oh, but now it's like, it's just cash. And I was only able to do that. I'm only able to do that because I ground myself into the earth aspect of the offering. So that's why I created Abracadabra. You can actually get in for $97 because there's a payment plan for the basic, and then even for VIP, which includes private time with me, it's only $187 to get in, which is insane value. We're gonna just really create a template for you to take and apply to any offer at any given time. That's the power of this. It's not just like a one-time thing. Like, I want to teach you how to write posts that sell. And of course, we're using your unique energy as the guide because you're going to have your own spin on things that we need to highlight rather than cover up with formulas and shit like that. So if you're interested in it, please apply. I didn't do a checkout link because I didn't have time and stuff, but just to be fully honest with you, I just want you guys to, just fill out the form and, I'll send you a quick PayPal link. It's just keep it simple. Because the medium is the message, right? So I'm like, how can I model and make this as simple as possible, right? Because that's what I want to encourage in you guys. It's perfect for you if you tend to overcomplicate things, if you get lost in your marketing and you kind of always feel like you're always like, wait, what do I do? Who is this for every single time you create something? And, again, your writing is beautiful. You get a lot of feedback and love, but it doesn't actually translate into sales, right? That's who this is for. There's a bonus workshop for choosing the most exalted names for your programs. If you join by tomorrow at midnight, you get that workshop. And then also the doors close Friday at midnight Eastern time. So, if it feels like the fit for you, just reach out to me. You can message me. You can just do the sales page thing, whatever you got to do. We will get you in. I am so excited for this program. Abracadabra means I create as I speak. And that's really the essence of this. I want to help you do that in your marketing. So the one prerequisite is that you have something to sell, right? And you love it. And it's so worthy but it's just not selling, right? We just want to look at why, and we got to change that so we can get out there into the world. So we're going to ground it in. I love you guys. This was so fun. Thank you so much for being here and allowing me to share all of this. It felt really good. Just to be my butterfly essence and share all these things. I really appreciate you so much just being here and, you know, hanging out with me. And I welcome any feedback, any breakthroughs, thoughts, whatever you want to share. This is your space. Have a really beautiful rest of your day. And again, if you're drawn to abracadabra, do not hesitate. I really believe that if it's aligned and if it's the right thing, then, just give yourself that green light, because we're going to really make magic together, and it's very focused. So I do really well with that, and I can't wait to deliver it. So I love you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I will be back next week with another episode of the Exalted Entrepreneur Talk Show. Bye, guys.